Arizona Attorney General, now Senate candidate, who from the great state of Arizona, Mark Brnovich, is with us, and the president of the National Border Patrol Council, Judd. Brandon, let's deal with the crisis, created by Joe Biden. He's the one that overturned the successful policies of Donald Trump. That was his decision. His border czar doesn't go to the border. Now they've taken away horseback, and they're making accusations of racism. And I have talked to person after person after person, and every Border Patrol agent that I have talked to says that is called a rain, and there was no whipping of people. And they are furious and feel that this is being used as a distraction. That's what my sources tell me. What are you hearing from your rank and file?
I've been patrolling the borders since Clinton was the president, and I can tell you personally that the policies that have been in place were by far the best under President Trump, and President Biden completely and totally dismantled all of those policies. And when you look at our Border Patrol agents, when they are sent down there to do that job, and by the way, Mayorkas was down on the border and he saw the horses. He knew the horses were out there, and now he's doing a 180. But when our agents are out there trying to patrol the border, do their job to the best of their ability, then they're vilified by the president. You know, we feel like, well, why even go out there and do it? Why put on that uniform? Why care about the American public? That's why we do it. We put on that uniform because we care about the American public. We want to go out there and we want to protect them. And Joe Biden is trying to break that down.
And there's been a high rate of COVID positivity, overcrowded cages, the middle of a pandemic, no testing, no vaccine mandates. Attorney General Brnovich, we've had Greg Abbott on the program. He's now got miles-long borders of cars because that's the only thing at his disposal. He's called up the National Guard, but then there's a legal issue of who gets control and whether or not Joe Biden can take control of that. Legally, you have been successful in going up against the Biden administration. Legally, what are the options available for border states like yours and Texas?
Well, thank you, Sean, for having me on. And as you mentioned, we have had multiple lawsuits against the Biden administration. And what's so frustrating to us, that I've been a prosecutor much of my career, is the fact that they won't even follow the existing law. The president is at apex of his power when it comes to national security and border security. And yet he literally turned over Afghanistan to the Taliban, and now he's ceding control of the border to the cartels. And so the federal government, Biden's trying to mandate a vaccine, which we've sued him over, and yet he won't secure the border, which is part of his duties and responsibilities. And so, you know, I've been using the tools in my toolbox. That includes litigation, trying to force him to build the wall, trying to make sure that he reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, making sure that people that have deportation orders are deported, not because we're a cruel nation, but because that's what the law requires.
Let me ask you the legal question, because you've been a big supporter of President Trump's, and his policies worked. We were at a 25-year low. We're now going to have a 25, 30-year record high of illegal immigrants crossing the border. From a legal standpoint, is Joe Biden aiding and abetting lawbreaking, and didn't he take an oath not to do that?
Well, clearly he's violating his oath to protect the Republican form of government in the United States. And, you know, arguably, I'm sure there's some folks that probably think this is the equivalent of an invasion. And so we're doing what we can legally. But when it comes to aiding and abetting, you know, the president has a lot of authority when it comes to the border. This is what he's constitutionally charged to do. He doesn't have the authority to mandate vaccines, but he does have the authority to enforce our laws, especially at the border.
Well, he's not doing it.
I know, and it's dangerous, well, Sean.
Well, that's called aiding and abetting. We only have 15 seconds. Brandon, high rate of COVID positivity. How many agents do you know of that have contracted COVID working at the border? We only have 10 seconds.
We have hundreds out every single day because of this. But let me put it this way. If President Biden wasn't the president right now, I would arrest him for aiding and abetting.
Wow. Thank you both. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.